Welcome, everyone. This is the Joey Harris Super Show, patreon.com/baby kangaroo media. And this one's going to be a little special. I decided this past week is that I'm going to release this on the regular feed. Instead of a regular episode, this episode will be released on the regular feed. And on my YouTube channel, they're going to get the video version. So I'm going to hit them.
Oh, snap.
Hit them coming in,
Nice.
hit them coming and going. But with that, I'm going to introduce my co-host here. I'm just going to go from left to right as I see you on my screen. So first of all, the man who is the inspiration for Otto on The Simpsons. Tyler, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You know how good he is, TJ? He's the inspiration for Otto, and Otto was a character before he was born. That's how good
That's how awesome you are.
That's
That is how awesome. Before you are even in the batter, you are imparting on this universe.
Making magic before I was born.
Hey.
And also, I couldn't do this without the man who is studying to be the lead actor in the remake of Osmosis Jones. TJ, how are you, my friend?
Hey, man, it's all about the sales, man. We got to be in there, bro. It's not enough for me to just be funny. I need to show you how your body works. Osmosis Jones was underrated, man. Give Chris Rock some love.
I had never seen that movie, but I was kind of familiar with it. So I went on Wikipedia and did a Osmosis Jones deep dive this afternoon. I'm like, what? I can't believe all of this was happening on that movie.
Bro, like legit, it was to me a good movie, and it was live action and cartoon. You got some Bill Murray in there. Y'all didn't know that y'all were coming for this. It's the Super Show. Osmosis Jones 2 with this face.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Osmosis Jones 2, The Virus Strikes Back.
Yes. But they're going to wait a couple more years before they let it. We got to get way from 2020 before we start doing virus movies.
You're a method actor, though.
Yes.
You submerge yourself like Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Tropic Thunder.
1,000%. So if I'm the big bad in this, because trust and believe, I am trying to be the big bad in some movie, my regular life is going to be walking around just touching people in the face and getting them sick. Just going around spreading filth. That's what I'm doing.
I love the fact that you brought up Tropic Thunder because that is a very funny movie.
Yes.
And for a white man to play that part as good as he did, he had no business doing it, but he nailed it.
Real talk. I've never seen that movie.
Really?
Like all the way through, but now I think I've seen enough clips that I could probably piece it together. Oh, but that clip when he says, "What do you mean, you people? What do you mean? What do you mean, you people?" Yes. Oh, goodness. And I'm trying to think, and I can't, like, I just have a memory. You're talking about like just reaching up and just touching somebody. I have a memory of somebody doing that to me, but I don't remember where it was. But I do remember, Tyler, I was in the Portland Mall one time, and I was on that escalator, and I'm coming down, and the kid going up reaches over and just grabs my arm as I'm going down and he's going up.
That's so weird. It's like, is he trying to get you to like lock eyes and have a magical moment with him?
It was something like that. And then
get punched in the face.
And then they were laughing. He and his friends were laughing so hard. I'm like, that was not funny. I don't know what you.
We're just in such a weird time. We talked about this last time too, but we're in such a weird time where like people think they get to do like weird stuff to like get attention, and like because like people will do like interviews and stuff, like the Hawk girl. And get famous from that. But then you have people like you said, because I've seen channels of it, like people riding escalators and then somebody will reach over and touch their hand as they like cross, and then it's like a wink, and it's like, that's a little weird.
Well, do you all remember the like early days of the pandemic? Like they're opening stores back up.
Try not to.
Only like 10 people can go in at once. And they're like, look, when you get your groceries, they've got to sit out for a while, or you got to like wipe them down and stuff like that. Then you get those channels where the guy goes in and he's licking all like the cartons of milk. And I'm like, dude, I worked off and on in a grocery store for 4 years when I was a teen. You don't want to be licking that stuff, because I'm going to tell you, that's not the first time that stuff has been in contact with stuff.
It's been handled by a lot. And I can speak on that because this summer I worked for Main Distributor. And that's like one of the state's like beer and soda distributors. And like we handled it a lot. So you imagine not only us handling the product, but then the people in the stores handling the product, then other people picking it up and looking at it, I don't want to buy it. They put it back, and then somebody just picks it up and licks it. That's gross.
So if I can put on my mental health hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to break it down to a logical thing, right? People want to be noticed. People want to feel like they matter. You know, I mean, if we're looking at our history, right, the collective history of everybody on this call, you're talking about the end of the boomers coming up. That life was different. Social media wasn't a thing. You were content with only knowing the people in your neighborhood. Now it's different. You can live in a town and know nobody at all, but still feel like you're thriving as a person because you have friends all over the world, because social media has made the world smaller. But it's like, it's not enough just to exist. It's not enough just to go to that 9 to 5 for 30 years and get the gold watch at the end. Right. Everybody wants that 15 minutes of recognition. And it can't be just 15 minutes, because now you're getting graded on every post that you make. So the post that I make today needs to reach a certain 1,000 views before I feel validated. And then guess what? I got to do it again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like I'm getting weirder and weirder with the things I'm doing. I don't think kids nowadays are any weirder than we were. We thought about some stupid shit back in the day as well. We just didn't necessarily feel the need to videotape it, whereas they do. But I mean, hey, look, I'm in the early 2000s, bro. When cell phones was becoming a thing, man, I took some pictures. I made some vids. I'm not going to throw these kids under the bus like they're doing anything that I hadn't thought about at some point. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You want to hear like the most cringy thing I did as a teenager? This was back when MySpace was like the social media.
Shout out to Tom.
Is I took a picture with my hoodie on, my hood up, trying to look all gangsta, and looking back on it, I was like, that's probably that was like one of the stupidest. I don't know why I wanted, like, why? Like, you know, being an adult now, I'm just like, I don't care.
Connection. People that you knew took pictures that way. So you taking pictures that way connected you with them, even if you were not with them. It is a unified feeling. Same thing for throwing up the peace sign. What the fuck? I'm just talking. I'm gonna take my mental health hat off. Let's put something else on here, okay?
Yeah, everyone wants peace. Why are you throwing up that hand?
No one. You don't care about this. Put that down.
You want me to get you 5 what? 5. All right, so we just had the Super Bowl. Biggest party of the year. Everybody comes together, hundreds of millions of people watching it. TJ, what's the ultimate Super Bowl food?
The ultimate Super Bowl food is chicken wings.
Chicken wings, okay.
Chicken wings, easy. Flats all day.
You're speaking directly to my heart.
However, TJ would not like tear your house apart if you brought him a drum. He's like, I prefer a flat. However,
I'm always gonna say flats all day, but if you go to get some wings, usually you're gonna have to pay extra for all flats. So if you just get the mix, I'm eating, baby. We eating. And I'm just saying. I just want you to know.
Here's the thing, right? drums are good. Flats are better. And you know why they're better? They're easier to dunk. And one quick motion, pull off the bone. You don't have to do none of that spinning it,
Look at
to get
that.
the meat off.
Look at that. And here's what I want y'all to know.
I'm a wings guy.
You mentioned the Super Bowl, and we got a Super Bowl halftime that apparently divided a lot of people. Me and this man look nothing alike, and we love to suck that chicken down. You're damn right.
Fuck chicken for life.
And look, next year, y'all pick out the halftime show. Make it very divisive. So everybody's over there like they got to run and let their feelings be known on social media. The kitchen's now open. You all can clear out all those wings. They're coming back. They're like, and that's when you say, hey, dude, I was so mad on your behalf. I threw those wings away. I knew you didn't.
Yeah, threw them away.
When actually you threw them in a bag and they're now chilling in your back seat.
Or right there. You see, you don't even have to ask me the question because I'm same answer, also wings.
So look, this is the thing though. This is the power move. You go regardless of what kind of wings they have. You come with a hoodie on, right? In the pocket of your hoodie, you have a little canister. It's your own personal dip. You're like, oh no, thanks. I bought my own. Whatever it is, that is the power move right there.
That is a power move. That's flexing. That's flexing on them and saying, I don't care what sauce you have. Mine's already better.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what is a good companion to your wings? Because if I come to your party and it's just wings, I'm not going to be mad. But other people might. They're like, you ain't got nothing else for me to chew on?
Chips and salsa, I think, is a good combination with wings.
Can't go wrong with chips and salsa. I was gonna say have a veggie tray, only because you never know who's vegan or vegetarian, and then if having a veggie tray keeps them from feeling uncomfortable about having to say that they are a vegan or a vegetarian. So you just have that there for them.
And I think it's a good combination too, because like most like wing places, at least in Maine, you get served with either like celery or carrots for your side with wings. And I absolutely love carrots. So I think a veggie tray is a good option too. I think chips and salsa and veggie tray are like probably the two best like sides that you can do with wings.
Big facts.
So here's the baller move though. You go to a big grocery store and you get their veggie tray that they're selling. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But you also go to the salad dressing aisle. You're going to get the ranch mix and the sour cream. You're going to make your own ranch dip. You're going to throw that ranch dip that they bring with it. Just throw that away. That's no good.
Okay.
And then as people come in, you're like, look, I got the veggie tray from Walmart. They just put it out. It's fresh this morning, but I made my own ranch dip for you. It's right there in the middle. They're going to think you're a baller and you haven't done anything but mix two ingredients together.
Well, not all ranches are created equal, baby.
That's true.
We need to put that out there, right? So which sour cream you choose to go with matters. Because, like, if I'm eating a ranch, and this is how I am, because I'm real snobby about my ranches, man. Like, it's got to be cool, and it's got to be thick, but it's got to taste light. Hold up now. Listen to it now. It's got to be cool. It's got to be thick, but it's got to taste light. And if you like ranch, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know nothing about ranch, shut the hell up. This is the Super Show.
See, this is what you do. All right.
Oh,
you go to the Hidden Valley. All right.
Okay. Tell me about it.
All right. Then you go around and you get, just for this, the name brand sour cream. All right. Now you're going to have to invest a little bit of time. If you ain't got nothing, you're going to have to invest a little bit of elbow grease. You're going to mix that well. So if you got a mixer, throw those in the mixer.
Oh, no. We're old fashioned.
That's what I'm saying.
My hands.
But sometimes with the hand, you get that little pocket at the bottom that's just all dry mix.
Oh, snap.
And that little dry pocket is that extra ranch flavor that we be loving.
But with the mix, as it's mixing, it's also whipping air in there, so it feels light, even though it's rich and creamy.
This man is picking up what I'm putting down.
All right, so they can't see it now. I'm going to take it off so for the people watching on the video that I'm going to throw up at the Joey Harris on YouTube, my username is military surplus donations. And the reason that I did that is my wife sent me this today. She got it because she's on the Facebook of all these different places. And I've got to bring it up because it happened near you, Tyler.
Okay.
Not that far from you, but I mean, it's a little ways, but you're certainly closer than TJ and I are. This is from the Goodwill. You all are familiar with the Goodwill. The Goodwill, Northern New England, Augusta, Maine.
Okay.
Our Augusta, Maine store is temporarily closed. A hand grenade was donated, and we have evacuated the building as we wait for the bomb squad to assess the situation. Please do not donate weaponry. Even if you know it's antique and safe, our store employees do not. And we need to take the necessary precautions we have today. You can find a list of acceptable donations on our website. We will update this page in goodwillnne.org/location when the store is safe and open again. Thank you for your understanding.
Dope. Listen, if I'm an employee at said Goodwill, and yeah, I know what Goodwill is. I heard they make amazing sandwiches. But if I'm an employee at this Goodwill, and I'm sitting here going through the intake, and for those of y'all who don't know who work in retail, when you got something coming in, it's to the intake. So if I'm in the back and I'm doing intake and I'm going through the trash bags that these people have collectively put together to donate these things to the Goodwill because we have the best sandwiches. If I'm going through this bag and I see a grenade, don't worry about it. I'll keep it. That's not even a problem. I would love to have a grenade. Who doesn't want a grenade?
You have a better reaction because you know what my reaction would be? I'd look at it. I'd go to my boss. I'd be like, you know what? Not feeling well. I'm gonna go home today. Go look in the back.
This is what I've been thinking all day. All right. You get the couple. Harry is finally retired from the plant. Okay. The plant only got like 6 months left. And Harry's like, look, I put in my 30. You ain't even got to get me the gold watch. Just make sure that the pension come. They're like, oh no, we got the pension set up. Okay.
Right.
So Harry's like, Marjorie, we're going to downsize. We don't need this big house anymore. I done found us a nice duplex and we're going to do that. But we got to get rid of some of this stuff because it's not all going to fit in the duplex. And he's like, you think they want my old underwear? Harry, they do not take underwear. Well, we got to get a new mattress. What do they take? They don't take mattresses. What about my old lucky fake grenade? I don't want that around my duplex. Put that in the bag. You know that's exactly what happened.
Oh. Question though, was it fake or?
Oh yeah, no, it was. They reopened now. She sent me the update to the store. They are reopened. I'm sure it was one of those non-functioning ones, like on Captain America, where he jumps on it. Get back, yeah.
Like I said, who doesn't want a grenade, man? I would love, even if it's fake. Even if it's fake, I want the grenade. So if I see it, no problem. I'll give you $2 for it.
I mean, if it's fake, sure, no problem. If it's a live one,
okay, it's live. I'll give you $350.
And that's when the guy says, "Sold." But do you know how to work this grenade?
No.
No returns.
If you're a northern Mainer, no questions asked. Have a good day. Enjoy. If I hear about something happening in the news later, wasn't mine. Wasn't involved.
I would just have it ready to go when the S hit the fan. That's all I'm saying.
I have a good friend of mine, college friend. and hold on, I've got a cough. She was in the army, signed up for the army right out of high school, and was in basic training. And they're doing, I guess, their part of their training was with the grenade. Pulled the pin through the pin and held the grenade. I'm sure it was a dummy one. At least I would hope so. And they're like, no, you got to throw that too. So they're like, look, I don't think this is going to work out. We're just going to give you an honorable discharge. You served your country, but let's not do this anymore.
Mm.
I'm just saying, how many times have we watched different things, different shows, and somebody's in a situation like, oh, she's running late, in the park, a strange man comes up on her. Or, some guy's walking in the neighborhood and he gets threatened. It's a zombie situation and they're all alone. You're sitting there like, you know what? They'd be real good if they had a fucking grenade. Now you know why I want one so bad.
Okay, now hold on. If we're talking about zombie apocalypse specifically, I'm right there with you. You know what? I'll have 3 or 4, 5, 10, 11, Let's keep them handy,
Who doesn't want a bandolero of grenades?
But if we're talking about, like, do you just casually want one in my apartment? I have a cat, so probably not a good idea. I go to baby
showers with these bitches, son.
That's what I'm saying. Don't stop at the zombie movies. All movies, as good of a film as it is, or a good romantic comedy, a grenade would have made When Harry Met Sally so much better.
I'll have what she's having. Boom, boom.
One movie a year has a grenade going off in it, and they don't tell you which one, and they don't tell you when.
Just saying.
Just randomly, you're in the movie theater, like, boom, like, holy shit.
Ashlyn will watch different YouTube creators and such. And I have, through our Verizon, I have YouTube Premium, but she doesn't on her, so she still has the ads. Well, sometimes she's doing something and the ad will start playing. And there was an ad the other day for the new Smurfs movie, which I did not know they were making a new Smurfs movie. And I'm like, is this a continuation of the old ones from 10 years ago or whenever?
Right.
Or this? It's like a soft reboot of it. It's not really, but they're like, you can count it and all that. So I'm watching it and I'm like, who's going to be in this and all of that? And John Goodman is the voice of Papa Smurf, and I think it's Rihanna or somebody is Smurfette and all that. And then she starts her video. I'm like, I need to see the end of that trailer.
I need to know more.
I'm not going to go see the movie, but I'm invested in this trailer.
I'll be glad when the Smurfs become public domain, because I got some really awesome ideas for some stuff to do with them, bro.
If it's pornographic in nature, I can tell you that's already been done.
Let me take this as a moment to plug my soon-to-be book, Mint Juleps, a collection of short erotic tales by Tokyo Jameson. Yes, that's Mint Juleps. Cut the check.
Wait till you get to the Smurf section. Every other word is smurfing.
Smurfing.
But last year, I will say this, I saw this online and ordered it. They are not a sponsor, but I will take their money if they would like to be a sponsor. It is Life Story Interview Kit, a tool for capturing their memories. It's called Tales. So there's that. And I pulled a random question, and I wanted to ask you all this question. What makes you feel the most alive?
I'll let him go first on this one.
No, you go first. Because I think I have to actually think about it.
All right, see, but typically whenever I go first with questions like these, the person after me is like, see, now I don't even want to answer. So I'm giving you the opportunity to go.
Trust me, I'll answer. I just got to think on it.
So what makes me feel the most alive?
The most alive.
Sunlight.
Okay.
Sunlight. It's anytime I see sunlight, I know. Like if I'm asleep, which is part of the reason why I have blackout curtains in my bedroom, because once I see sunlight, it's a new day, and I have to start it with all of the positivity and energy that I can bring into it because it's not waiting for me. Positivity is not waiting for me outside of my door. The most negative shit is waiting for me every day outside of my door. So I have to wake up with that energy. So when I see that sunlight creeping in from my bathroom, I know it's time to go.
That is a really good answer. I like that.
All right, Tyler, what about you?
What makes me feel most alive? I'm going to call back. I'm going to say traveling. And the reason I say traveling is because going to WrestleMania 40 with you last year was the first time that I flew alone. Didn't have any friends or family. It was like the first time like walking in Philadelphia. I think that just that whole trip experience made me feel alive. And so I would say traveling in general, just stepping outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and exploring something new. I think that's my answer. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'll say this, TJ. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I knew Tyler's anxiety. In fact, when we were in Las Vegas, Tyler, New Year's Eve, we were talking about that. And I said, I think I still have the text thread because I had not deleted it. And he's like, I'm at the Bangor airport. I'm all checked in. I'm through security now. I'm just waiting on my flight. I said, you'll be fine. He goes, yeah, but it's the first time I've ever traveled alone. I'm nervous. I said, you're fine. I said, you've gotten through the most, like, to me, hair-raising part is going through security and actually getting there. The next thing is getting on your plane. And after that, it's out of your hands. You can be nervous, but it's out of your hands. And then he sends me a text on the plane, just ready to take off. Cool. I'm on, I hit a bit of traffic, but I'm driving up there. I'm on my way. 40 minutes or so later, he sends me another text. I'm like, if they got Wi-Fi on their plane, he goes, we haven't taken off. Apparently, there's been an earthquake in New Jersey.
Golly, boy.
And it's knocked out like all the communication and all of that. And you've got the greater New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. You've got thousands, tens of thousands of people converging for that, as well as I think there was something else like we talked about the last time.
Yeah, it was full up that weekend.
It wasn't like a big earthquake. It was just like big enough just to knock out the towers. It was more or less how like strong it was. And we sat on the plane. I can't even remember, but it was long enough that we had to refuel the plane.
I had to go back
before we took off. Yeah.
Man, listen. It's tough.
I check in. I think you were almost to Philadelphia by that time. You had made your connection. You were almost to Philadelphia. I checked in. I'm riding up on the elevator, TJ, and I'm riding with three other people. They don't know each other. Two of them are a couple. The other person's a single like me. And everybody's like, quite a day traveling here, huh? Where were you at when the earthquake hit? I said, I was in Northern Virginia, but my friend was trying to get here from Maine. And he's like, there's been an earthquake. They're like, imagine trying to drive through the middle of that. And everybody's like, what was that? Was that an earthquake?
Yeah.
Dude, you're driving. Do we hit a pothole? That's what I would think the earthquake would feel like, especially when that light. But Tyler, to your point, bro, because you talk about flying alone, and to anybody listening and not truly being able to appreciate that, it's like, if you've never done it, it can seem overwhelming. And somebody who deals with social anxiety, and Joey's been able to see it firsthand, it's like, if you're not prepared for what's coming, it can be overwhelming, right? So if you like think all I'm doing is I'm flying from Maine to Philly, I got one connection. But you don't know that connection is in freaking Detroit. Detroit's airport is a mess, right? Because you'll land here and then you got to get on a train to go somewhere else. Man, it's like, so if you're not prepared for that, you know, if you don't know what that connection is going to be like, it can be overwhelming. So no, I totally get that point, man, and I feel you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing.
And what made it like even harder is I asked if there was like a bus to the hotel because they were like, call this number, and I called, and they're what they say, Joey? I think I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Because for some reason you had to pick me up.
Right, but where we were staying, the airport was like a mile away. It was right there. We were staying on that hotel row near airports and all the time where they have people get put up and all of that. But I will say this: I've flown in and out of that airport a couple of times now, and actually getting that shuttle is very confusing, even if they knew. And it was something like it was almost like we don't have a shuttle, or it doesn't come from here, but they couldn't tell them where it left from.
Yeah. And so like that was like something that added on to the anxiety of traveling. Because for me, I mean, you're talking about a boy who comes from a very small town in northern Maine. Like I'm not used to traveling the world, like seeing the big stuff. And that airport was big. And I did the best I could at trying to find Joey. We struggled to find each other.
I said, I'm going to park. This is what I'm seeing. And you're like, this is what I'm seeing. Well, I can't see that. If I need to come and get you, if I need to come in, I can physically come into the airport and like walk around a little bit, but I can't like go meet me by the cheesesteak place because they won't let me through there.
They will not let him there.
So this is like the big brain, how we figured it out. I told him to face his camera towards the road so I could see what he could see. And it turned out he was in the parking garage, or like a parking garage area type thing. That was like, what? It was like two roads, like the airport, where like you drive through the actual airport. And I was on that sidewalk, and I could see he was looking at something I was looking at with my eyes. I was like, so he's behind me. So I turned around, and then I just cut through like an area I don't think I was supposed to, but didn't care.
I just made myself a note. I'm going to talk about the one time that I was in an earthquake next month when we meet. I'm just going to keep a running tab of notes on my phone, stories or things that I can talk about.
All the callbacks.
I was thinking about this because for the regular show, for those who don't know, my good friend TJ gave me my first start doing something like radio or podcasting, I should say. I'd done radio. And he had a network, the Go Radio Network. On Blog Talk Radio, and he gave me a show on it, the Comedy Shack. Saturday nights at 7, I think it was.
Saturdays at 7.
The wonderful spot. So I tried to get people as they were headed out for the evening. Anyway, did that 44 shows, never missed a week, and then the network shut down, and I shut out the lights because he's like, look, we're shutting the network. You can go do your own thing, whatever. If you want to take it over, here's that. So people were abandoning their shows. So I kept it going for like 3 more weeks. I took their time slot, moved it, changed the time, and called it the Comedy Shack. So I'm like, until I could do the Joey Harris show. So then I set up my own thing, and I did the Joey Harris show from December of 2013 until the end of May 2016. Through my first year in Maine. June 1st, my contract was up that first year in Maine. I was a 10-month employee and was coming back as a 10-month employee. And the next month, my coworker decided he was leaving, and they offered me the 12-month position. That's why I moved to Kenio.
Boo!
But I was also getting married the next month. And so I'm like, all right, I did it through the end of May. And I'm like, oh, well, I've got a few weeks. I need to, and then I'll start it back up and all of that. And then just never went back to it. And occasionally I would do episodes like here and there. And I was still getting numbers on Blog Talk Radio. And my original thing was I was going to start doing it once a month, like at the first Sunday of the month or whatever, just to keep people going into the network. And then I said, I started another wrestling show on Blog Talk Radio. I did it for a year and a half and got 41 total listens. And I said, let's not do this anymore. I was just done with it. And my wife had gotten me these headphones and my first mic. And she's like, why don't you do like a real podcast? And so that was the summer of 2019. I said, all right, I'm going to stop everything now. I'm going to do a real wrestling podcast in January of 2020. And I did. Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. 7 or 8 weeks later, March, Tyler and I, the first Sunday of March, go to see Bert Kreischer. And
Yes, we do.
And Bert Kreischer is even making jokes like, this COVID thing, I'm probably the zero patient because I'm traveling all over the country and this, but everybody was making jokes. That was March 1st, I believe. And, 16 days later, we all shut down. And so during that time, everybody's putting out extra content. I'm doing extra shows, Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. And I said, I need to just keep going. Oh, I can do the Joey Harris Show. And so TJ and I would do shows. And then we did that for 3 or 4, like every 3 or 4 weeks, TJ. It wasn't a regular thing, but like, hey, you got time? Throw it
man, I got you.
So then Blog Talk Radio, boom, they're clamping down on it. You only got 30 hours free. I look up and I've done 60 hours over those 3 years. I'm like, oh, hey. Man. But they wouldn't let me do any more. So I did a couple of episodes of the Joey Harris Show on the old wrestling feed that I had because I had time there. But then TJ was doing a little something in like the Smoke Show or something. You were doing something then. You're like, I'm doing it on Anchor. Yeah. And so I looked it up. I'm like, ooh, I can do it on Anchor. And it's like you can import. And so I imported some of my old shows and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I can just host it from here. And I, at that point, was still planning on doing just once a month and all that. And I'm looking up, and I had at one point saved all my old Comedy Shack episodes. And I'm like, this is interesting. And so I got those and uploaded those and got all of my old Joey Harris shows. And I'm like, why don't you do it weekly, Joey? If you don't have a guest, put up a show and call it Joey Harris Shows Classics. If you never record another thing, I said at that point I could do it for 3 years if I did not record one extra minute. Mm-hmm. So in August of 2020, I started doing weekly shows. So I've been doing that since then. And I throw up the old wrestling shows. I try to do it the second Sunday of every month, just so I'll have everything that I've ever done kind of in one place, and that they can get more listens than the 41 they got the first time. So a couple of weeks ago, I had one. It's the Joey Harris Show Classics. You never forget getting peed in the face, which is true. And I know that both of you all can agree with that statement. And I said, why don't you give the behind the scenes on the Super Show of this? So I'm going to take you all back to November of 2011. I wish Nan were here because Nan is part of this as well. At the first, it's kind of an uncomfortable story, but Halloween of 2011, my first wife and I decided to split up. We decided to separate. What we were doing was not working. All right. It happens. All right. So, and from that point on, we got along better than we were beforehand, because under normal circumstances, I would have moved out, but I was working in housing. I had to stay there. And I said, look, if I need to find an extra bed, I had a big apartment at the time where I was living. I will move an extra bed into another room. I'll sleep on the couch. You can have the bed. stay as long as you want. I'm not kicking you out until you can find a place, because I knew it would be hard for her. She's like, thank you. I really do appreciate that. And then the next day, she's like, I think I could be out by the end of the month. Again, perfectly fine, whatever you need to do. And the next day, she said, I actually can move out this weekend. Okay, perfectly fine. Again. So I went, I decided I'm going to give her space. I went to my parents that weekend. They had already found out, which is a story for a different time. But I was going to tell them then, but they already knew. So I cleared out. She got her people together. They cleared her out. She gave Nan actually the keys to the apartment and stuff like that. So I come back and I'm trying to like live by myself for the first time. And I didn't tell anybody. I put it out on Facebook, but I'm not sharing. And I guess this is the only thing I can think of now, TJ. They're like, Joey's kind of sad. Let's give him something to do. Let's give him a project. And this is the project, Tyler. I had colleagues of mine were going on a housing conference. I'm not going, but they said, can you get us some transportation to the housing conference? Well, my buddy TJ worked for Enterprise at the time. So I'm like, TJ, can you hook me up? So he hooked me up. I went back and listened to it. You hooked me up with a very luxurious SUV for them to do. I go, I sign all the contracts. Again, I'm not going, but I'm signing all these contracts and stuff, right? So I did that. I got to back up a second now. My ex-wife has now moved out of the apartment. I'm away for the weekend to give her space because I'm not going back the same night. I'm just staying at my parents'. That night, in front of the building that I was in, all right, 50 people decide to get into a big riot, a major brawl, Tyler. And it all revolved around this one guy who was a self-admitted, for lack of I'm going to clean this up a little bit, for lack of a better term, he was a stirrer. You know, he liked to stir the stuff.
Stir the pot.
Stir the pot. Yes. It's a perfect way to do it. All right. And he had been stirring different pots for several weeks now. Again, we're in the first weekend of November, and he'd been stirring it up since August, since everybody got there. I thought I was having a bad few weeks and stuff with the dissolution of my first marriage, but nope, this guy's like, hey, if he'd have known about that, he'd probably stirred my pot too, but I kept my pot separate from all the other pots. So I'm 2 hours north of there, minding my own business, probably asleep by this time. This guy had been stirring a bunch of pots, and it all comes to a head in front of that building. 50 people break out into a fight, and it is a fight. A former colleague of mine, who shall remain nameless, and some wonderful RAs broke it up. And this colleague of mine said later on, you don't want me to tell you what I did to break up that fight. I'm just thankful that social media was not as prevalent today as it was then.
I already see where it's going.
So I come back. People telling me all about the fight. They're setting up meetings and I don't know who somebody was in the corner taking names because they got everybody. They lined up chairs all up and down inside the student union where the dean of students office was. And we had this man, he's the dean of students still to this day, but he had been the director of housing when I was there. I worked for him when I was an RA. Then he had been the associate dean for years. He was the interim dean of students, and he had just gotten this job.
Yeah.
But he said, and he told the president, I might have to suspend 50 people, including most of your football team. And the president told him, do what you need to do. All right. So they're going out. And at the same time, everybody else is leaving on the SUV that I signed and paid for. This guy admits his wrongdoing. He said, I started it. Do whatever you want to do with me. I did start it. Everybody else said, He did start it. We were just there to break it up. We didn't do it. We kept him from hurt. This guy, according to everybody, fought himself for half an hour, and 49 other people were
Trying to break it up.
Trying to break it up. I'm imagining
respect to them 49 people for all going with the same story against him.
I'm imagining the scene from Liar Liar. What are you doing? I'm kicking my ass.
I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind?
Great movie.
So, but it also comes out as we were, everybody's at Bible study, reading to the blind. They were just minding their own business, and then all jump in. But in the melee, including whatever they did to break up the fight, these two guys turn, and there's an RA there. So they punch him and beat him up, beat him down. So in the melee with everything else, they said to those two gentlemen, we think it would be a good idea for you both not to be here anymore. And I don't know if they agreed or not, but that's what was happening. So you look around and most everybody is gone on that trip. So it falls to Joey. Joey, can you take them to the airport? This is what we're going to do. You're going to take them to the airport. You're going to buy their plane tickets, and you're going to put them on the plane. We've already reserved them, but you have to physically pay for it. I pull up in front of the building, and it's 1 o'clock. They got a 3 o'clock flight. Thankfully, the airport's not that far away. I don't see them, and we don't know where they are. They finally come running out a few minutes later. They've got 4 bags. They get to the airport. We go inside. They said, you can do 2 bags. Otherwise, you got to check it. Oh, no, we're not checking any bags. We got to carry them. You can only get 1 bag a piece. Y'all got 2 bags a piece. I said, fellas, you got to consolidate stuff, do anything you got to do. They finally do. They grumble and complain the whole time, but they finally do it. I paid. They check their bags. They get the little tag. And they get the backpack. They get their tickets. I said, fellas, there's nothing else I can do for you. You got to go through security, and I don't have a ticket. They won't let me go through security. Good luck to you. I know this is not how you wanted this part of your life to end, but I wish nothing but the best for you. You never did anything to me. I shook both of their hands. They thanked me, and then they leave. And as they're leaving, they said, Mr. Joey, will you pack up the rest of our stuff and send it to us? How in the heck am I supposed to do that? We have faith in you. And then they leave. Okay. That was weird. Wonder how much stuff they've got. So I think that's them. I think that's them canceling, Tyler. I'm gonna mute myself. This is riveting.
This is absolutely riveting radio. And ladies and gentlemen, while
I'm betting that it's canceled. I'm betting. That's my official $5 on the table. It's canceled.
No, look, I'm hoping that it is. While we're waiting on Joey to come back, I want to let you know that this section of the Super Show is brought to you by McDonald's. Yes, the McRib is back, ladies and gentlemen. It's covered in sauce.
I had McDonald's this morning. The bagel steak breakfast.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
Yeah.
Closed for another day.
Hey, $5.
That's what I said. That's what I said. So I finished, and that's all my coworkers going, we're closed tomorrow. We all got the same message. So I'm going to put that on silent and turn it down. But anyway, so I think they're like, you will figure it out. They've got a lot of faith in me. So I turned, I'm like, oh man, I got to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I'm standing at the urinal. Now in the Fayetteville International Airport and Beauty Salon, they have these fancy new toilets, Tyler, at the time. You do your business, it flushes, and as it flushes, this thing comes around the front, closes it off. completely sanitizes and cleans it, and then finishes doing its thing. So when it's done, it kind of does a 360, right? So I'm there, and I'm standing at the urinal, and I'm letting gravity do its job. And I start looking around, probably like, how am I going to get their stuff to them? And as I'm doing that, the thing, I'm still using the bathroom. I'm still peeing. The thing starts to and I'm not noticing it. I'm just like looking up like, oh, they done remodeled it.
It's nice what they've done with
the ceilings are high and all of that. And as I turn around, that thing has completed its first thing, and I'm now hitting a thing. And as I look down, it comes back and hits me in the face. And if you've ever seen the Zapruder film of the JFK assassination, or that episode of Seinfeld where they make fun of that, it was like that. I'm hit. And I can tell you, you will never forget being peed in the face. That will be burned into your brain forever. So I clean myself up the best way that I know how, right? And 99 times out of 100, as I'm leaving, nobody's paying any attention to me. But now I'm like covered. It's like everywhere, right? I'm coming out, and it was like they made a silent announcement because I did not hear it over the loudspeaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we will all convene in front of the men's restroom and just stare at the door. I come out, and there's like 30 people just staring at it. There's not a line. But they're just all, I'm like, yeah. And I'm waving for some reason. Thank you. I could not do it. And so I just kind of slink back to my vehicle at the time. So while I'm doing that, I'm the only person I've known that does that. They are 3 or 4 hours away. They're in the mountains of North Carolina. They decide to stop for lunch, and they're having a wonderful lunch. But while they're having their wonderful lunch, I get a ticket. Now, mind you, I'm not there, but I got a ticket on that vehicle that's got my name on it.
Wow.
And so I'm back in Fayetteville cleaning myself up, and I'm like, how am I going to get there? So they had actually packed it. I got their addresses, huge cardboard boxes with all the rest of their stuff on it. And I learned at the time, they have since stopped doing it, Greyhound will ship boxes for you. So I had to take these boxes down to the Greyhound, had to have their addresses on it. I paid for them, and they shipped them all of their stuff. And I get back to campus, and they're like, go turn the car back in. They're like, what y'all gonna do about this ticket? And I said, what ticket? Oh, we stopped for lunch, and we got a parking ticket. What y'all gonna do to pay that bad boy? And they didn't pay it for like 6 months or something. Like, it was an obscene amount of time. They did eventually pay it, thankfully. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to ever rent from Enterprise again.
Right.
But I did rent from Enterprise a couple of years ago. So you never forget getting peed in the face, Tyler. The moral of the story. You will never forget it.
Takes once.
Hey, you know what? You know what that's called? At the time, you didn't know it, but that was called future entertainment.
Oh, that's all my life is made up. That is all my life is made up of. I was telling Tyler yesterday, TJ, that Ashlyn and I were watching the old It movie in Maine because we had just gone on the Stephen King tour. And he gets to a scary part in the movie, and a student who had locked himself out of the building is knocking on the window right by Ashlyn's head. And nice. And he said, I said, why didn't you just call security or call anybody? Why did you do that? He goes, Oh, I thought it'd be better to knock on your bedroom window. That is your bedroom, isn't it? No, but how does that make it better?
Why are you so dead set on finding out where my bedroom window is at, son? Let's talk about that.
Couldn't you see? I could see this guy's like peeking in. You see him through the blinds. What are y'all having for dinner?
The sad thing is some of the kids that went, I call them kids, I guess they were technically adults, but some of the adults that went there, I could have seen them doing that.
In the first apartment I was living in, I had done a load of towels and I brought them back to the apartment, and that apartment had a huge like bay window type of huge open window area in the living room. And a student sent me a text. She and her boyfriend could see me folding towels. They were just hanging out behind the building, watching me fold towels. I'm like, that's really creepy.
That is creepy.
Don't ever say that again. Stop watching me.
Don't text me.
In fact,
don't watch me. Don't text me.
I'm going to close this blind.
Since we're talking about being creepy, get ready for the last season of You on Netflix. That's You on Netflix.
I don't like that
Cut
show
the check.
at all. I don't like that show at all.
I've never seen it.
Oh, that
but
dude.
I know what it's about.
That dude is creepy.
You know, I had the reference.
I think I watched the first 2 seasons of it, but I have a hard time staying involved in a show, you know.
Either the second or the third season dropped, like right before COVID, because I just remember talking to the RA and she's like, oh, I love that show. It's so good. Like, he's such a complex character. I'm like, he does some really creepy things, but she's almost talking to me like I could change him.
It's one of those things where she's like romanticizing.
Yeah. Looking past the kidnapping because he's hot. Because I promise you, if the motherfucker looked like me, one season, arrest that bastard. They're treating me like Shrek. We got people with pitchforks.
See, you're giving yourself too much credit because they would give you one episode and they would be all over it.
Me an episode. I thought that I could terrorize for a season. My man said, "No, TJ, you are not pretty enough for a season. I give you one episode of SVU, you son of a bitch, and that's it."
Hey, SVU, good show. No, I'm just calling out American culture for how bad it is, you know, towards, you know, Black culture. I mean, that's the truth. I'll say it, you know.
This is what it honestly would be. You'd get the real, like the snazzy headlines. Netflix is rebooting You with the African-American protagonist. And then like a week or two later, Netflix You hires up-and-coming African-American actor Torian Johnson. All right. Then like the next week, it's like full season commitment already. And then the next week is like already been picked up for season 2 before season 1 even drops. The next week, pilot comes out. Never mind.
I mean, the sad thing is that it's the truth.
It is.
It is
exactly what would
happen. And it's like if you watch like movies, you have the one Black actor in it as if it's like a horror movie. Why is he always the first to die? Why?
I mean, we've been talking about that. We've been talking about that for years, man. I mean, like one of the franchises that has withstood the test of time is going to be Scream. They've got 6 of them now.
Yep.
Right.
First one we talk about. The first one didn't have any people of color in it at all. The second one, they got Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps to do it, and those two were both dead before the name of the movie was shown.
Right.
And then obviously it diversifies itself obviously later because now you got Ortega as the lead, you know, it girl. But it wasn't like that for a while, you know.
No,
I mean,
no, I mean it almost became a meme at one point if they put a black person in the like movie or show or whatever. I guess I should say, depending on like whether it be horror, thriller, or whatever. It's like the character was, or even if it's like a drama or something, like a hospital show or something. It's like they always like kill that character off like super fast, or like the character gets cut from the show for some reason, and it's like why do we have to? I don't like the a treatment of a race like that. That I don't think that's fair. It's not.
I can appreciate you for seeing it. You know what I mean? Imagine living that and seeing those images and wondering why,
obviously,
people like you can't make it to the end. It's tough, but
right.
It's to the point now to where it's comic relief now in some situations, right? Because it's like Scary Movie came out as a spoof to Scream to try and offer that diversity. They had a movie come out probably about 5 years ago now called The Blackening, where in that film, where all of the cast is black, the tagline for the film is "They all can't die first," because we're making fun of now to try and take back some of it. Even in the film that I did with Joey last year, it was a line in the film from one of the characters like, "I'm black, so I'm probably gonna die next." But I mean, that's just dialogue, and it's accepted. But yeah.
Do you guys remember when Samuel L. Jackson was cast for the Marvel movies as Nick Fury?
Yeah, there was a lot of
hate. Do you guys remember like how much hate there was for it? And then guess what he did? He blew the fucking part out of the water, and people are like, "Oh my god, he's actually really good at playing the character." It's like, yeah, no shit. His skin color shouldn't have to do with it.
But as far as horror movies, I'm thinking of two different things that kind of are shifting the genre. The first is that after, I think, The Sixth Sense, M. Night Shyamalan started to do that. You had Samuel L. Jackson as the villain in Unbreakable, and people are like, "Oh, Mr. Glass," because you can't see that, and then he brings him back in Glass and Split and all of that stuff, and then Jordan Peele, and all of the stuff that he's doing with his movies, and then with the Twilight Zone remake and all of that. So you have that representation not only in front of the camera but also behind the camera. And I remember you were talking about, it was almost a meme. We played it for several years when we'd have RA training and we'd go away for a few days to a camp or something. We're all driving the vans. What I would do, we'd get to wherever the camp was, and it was like in these woods, and we're driving through, and somebody would always say, "This looks like a horror film is going to take place here." And I say, "When would you all die in a horror film?" And you'd have somebody, "Oh, I'm definitely going to die first." And what about you, Joey? I said, "I'm the guy that almost makes it to the end, but it's me and the two lead characters." And they're like, "Let's split up and check this out. We're going to go outside to the bright sunny beach. Joey, check down and see what's at the bottom of the cellar steps." And I'm like, "Why don't I go check the beach?" And they look at you like, "That doesn't even make any sense."
The beach?
What language are you speaking right now?
It's we're just like talking about like the stereotypical. It's like like back in like movies and stuff, like black people can't swim. It's like, that's the stupidest thing I've heard.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. I can't. So I don't speak for all black folks, but I can't fucking swim.
Neither can I.
It's not for a lack of trying. I tried twice. It didn't work out. So now, chest deep.
I didn't really try. I'm going to be honest with you. I took swimming lessons, but I was terrified of the water. And it's very difficult to learn how to swim if you're terrified of the water.
I have a question for both of you. That is true. Like, did So like obviously I'm not familiar with like the area that you guys grew up. Did you guys like have public pools or did you guys like have ponds and streams and stuff? Because like for me growing up, it was ponds and streams. Like if you wanted to swim, you had to swim in ponds and streams. Like that was it.
I love this question because I can answer it to make it sound like I grew up in some industrial factory or a project. But no, here in the South where I grew up, I mean, I had a Y membership for the majority of my childhood. So whenever I did try to learn, I remember when I was 7 years old, I'm going to the Y trying to learn to swim at the Y. So I mean, yeah, we got like ponds and streams, but who the hell wants to go to a damn pond and stream? It's got Gila monsters, man. That's how you get snatched up. Little Tommy went down to the stream and was never seen again. So now I'm not going to streams, Tyler. But I'm going to go to a place that has a lifeguard. You know what I mean? And even in that, even in training in that situation, it just didn't work out.
You see that was the public pool or the Y or whatever, lifeguards. That just wasn't an option. So
I feel it.
You, Joey?
I went to like people that I knew, they had their own pool. Had an aunt and uncle who had their own pool. But they were also public pools, and we would go to like the lake. I guess that's the part of the ponds and stream. But like TJ, that water is dirty. Of course, I didn't trust my aunt and uncle's pool. I'm like, I know there's gonna be a shark at the other end of that. I'm staying over here on the shallow end, and I'm still not sure with that. They're like, you want to play Marco Polo? I'll play with my eyes open. You can't do that.
See, I guess that's like one of the things that I take for granted is I grew up in a state where like majority of our water is very clean.
Right.
It just goes to the point. It's like we're all growing up in the same United States, but have a very different experience based on geographical upbringing.
Right.
Because growing up where I am, I'm coming up. If we want to see the ocean, we got to go to what is called Dirty Myrtle. And Dirty Myrtle whenever you go to Dirty Myrtle because the sand and the water are very similar in color. Whereas whenever I go to South Florida where I went to grad school, the first time I went out on the catamaran with white sand and blue waters and I can actually look down and see dolphins swimming next to me, I'm like, yo, this is what the ocean is supposed to be like. And there are people that's their upbringing. They come up with white sand and blue water. So I mean, it's just like everybody's experience is so different. But for that reason, I wish we'd be more understanding, give each other a little bit more grace. Everybody's not on the same playing field when it comes to certain things. That's all. The more you know.
I like it's. I always say it's like you should judge a person by their character, who they are. Don't judge somebody off of something stupid like a color. And this is actually a conversation because I might have told you this, TJ. I'm a bus driver, so it's like sometimes you kind of have to have them conversations with like children. I had a conversation with a child one day. A black kid got on my bus, and they're like, "Why is he a different color?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, that is not how you would address that at all." I was like, because there are different races in this country, because this country is a melting pot. It's a country for different races. I was like, so first of all, you don't address somebody by their color. The reason why he is black, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know his family. I don't know his lineage. I don't know if he's from a different part of the world. Can't answer it. Not my business. But you don't look at somebody and say, oh, why is that person that color? That's just, like I said, having a conversation with a child was hard to explain. Like, that's just, it's not how you address that.
And Joey, I'll say this real quick so that we can move on. The one thing that I have to be understanding on is to understand everybody isn't fortunate to be raised in diverse situations.
Right.
So if the only example that you have to experience someone who looks like me is what you see on TV, then you run the risk of having a very sad view because, hey, if all you do is watch The Wire, and you think that that's what black folks are based on what you see in The Wire, you have a very negative view of people of color. And that's tough, but that's some people's experience.
Right.
You know, there are certain parts in West Virginia where some people just don't travel, right? They're not getting on a bus going anywhere. They're not getting on a plane going anywhere. Staying home is what they know. And the amount of the population, 0 black folks. So again, the only exposure they're going to have is what they get from socials. And sadly, we see the image that's put out there sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have to be understanding. I have to be understanding that everybody isn't on the same playing field. It does not excuse disrespect, but I am still understanding that everybody isn't where I am.
I think for me, like I said, it's just being repetitive at this point. If you're judging something based off of a color, you should probably reevaluate your life.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's a color. What are we? 3 years old.
Well,
And I'm sorry. It's something that I just find stupid. You judge a person based off of who they
we're
are.
all pink on the inside, and we make some disgusting smells sometimes.
That is definitely true. I can raise my hand on that. You got me. You got me.
And we're all sexy son of a bitches.
There you go. Own it. Own it.
So TJ, yesterday, Tyler leans back like that, and his hoodie says "Shroot Beet Farm."
Hey,
I am an office guy. I told Joey this yesterday, and I had told him in the past. Game of Thrones and The Office are the 2 shows that got me through COVID. Because, going through COVID, obviously everything was shut down and you couldn't travel. And, I was really depressed through that time for obvious reasons, like most people were. The Office and Game of Thrones really helped me out. As sad as that sounds,
No, dude, I get it. And I'm about business. So when it comes down to what we're watching, if Game of Thrones gets brought on there, Joey, I suggest we bring this man on for another perspective. What you say?
I love it. And I will also say this, since I talked about it earlier, we're propping up the Patreon. Since I have never seen it, if you all would wait and let me watch Tropic Thunder, we can do a little thing called the Film Club, and we can discuss it on Patreon.
Bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bet.
So there is that. Let's go ahead and start winding this down. TJ, go ahead and plug any and everything you have, my friend.
Oh man, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Shouts out to Push, which is the play that I'm doing. We've added altogether, I think we got 3 stops in June. Push stands for Pray Until Something Happens. I'm going to be playing Pastor John. We've got some looking. We're doing a film called Manhood that's going to be filming on the 22nd. I've got a project that I can't talk about yet, but I'm really excited about filming in March. Was in the studio doing a song a couple weeks ago called Crazy. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. If I can shake off this cold, man, nobody can tell me anything at all, bro. So just glad to be on with y'all, man. I enjoy these times. I hate we couldn't do it yesterday, but the universe doesn't fail. It happens when it's supposed to happen, man. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be on with y'all today, bro. And more stuff coming. Daddy's Little Girl is going to be releasing in about 2 months, so y'all will get to meet Howard for the first time. I got to see some clips released on Facebook today of the show and of my behind the scenes work with that character. So yeah, just thankful, man. Thankful, bro. I'm in my second act, man. Can't nobody tell me nothing, bro. Life is what me make it.
Look, Tyler, before I throw it to you, I say this. I have nothing in the world but love for my good friend. The ladies love Cool James, but you can call mine a comeback. This is a comeback for me. This is not. I never left, but I'm still calling it a comeback. So,
I feel it.
So, Tyler, go ahead and plug any and everything you have, my friend.
Unfortunately, I am not TJ. I don't have much going on in my life besides, work.
Tyler's like, I will be turning the corner at Elm Street about 6:30 tomorrow morning.
I'll plug my socials. Just give me a second. I gotta flip through my little book that I keep all that stuff in.
If this thing gets more popular, I'm going to come up with a TeePublic or a Pro Wrestling Tees, some kind of a T-shirt, and I'm going to have a Tyler shirt that said, "Hold on, let me flip through my little book."
Hold on, let me flip through my socials.
You know what you have to do? You know what you honestly have to do is you just have to memorize my socials and just put it up on screen already.
Yeah.
X. It's just Tyler Morgan MCK, and my Insta is Tyler Mick 1293. That's about all that's going on in my life. Is working, coming home, doing this, which is probably one of my favorite things to do. By the way, I've told Joey this multiple times. It's just a way for us to reconnect. So check out the Patreon. I'll plug it. Check out. Is it Cup of Joe Wrestling? That is the one that's on Spotify, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, they're both on Spotify, the Joey Harris Show and the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Check them out.
Wherever you get your fine podcast. They are that. Thank you for that, Tyler. I am at the Joey Harris. If this is social media and I'm on it, I'm at the Joey Harris. I made it easy for you. If you go to your local establishment and you go into the restroom and at the Joey Harris is scratched on the side of the bathroom stall, that is not me. You just go ahead and scratch that out. You have my permission.
Unless it is that one stall in the airport that does the whole flip around
at the Joey Harris with Pete on it.
It'll smile at you.
babykangaroomedia@gmail.com is this email address. So you all are getting the audio on the regular Joey Harris Show feed. You are getting the video on at the Joey Harris YouTube. But if you would like more of this, as well as the Artist Corner with TJ, Nan and I do the Book Club Baristas, Tyler and I do the Cup of Joe on Patreon. The Green Room, Tyler and I did an episode of the Green Room, threw it up. It is up there now as we speak, as well as the Super Show. This is a free preview, but all the rest of them behind the paywall, just $5 a month. You can't get a meal deal for that.
No.
You can barely you used to be able to get a foot long from Subway, but those days are long gone. They're like, we got a special for the month of January. You can get some of our subs foot long for $6.50. I'm like, I remember the days when they had the jingle for the $5 foot long. Mm-hmm. But just $5 a month. Yes.
And one more thing. On this video, the one that goes on YouTube, I want to see comments on this video. Ask us questions about things you want us to talk about on the next show. That will be paywalled for only $5. You can't get a Big Mac for $5.
And let me say this: we are building the Patreon. As soon as I get 10 patrons, that is 2 of those 5s. Okay, 10. We're going live. We are streaming live for patrons only. And both of these gentlemen are going to be there. We're going to set it up.
I'll take my shirt off.
I will not.
That's worth the $5 anyway.
It is.
I'll threaten to take my shirt off unless you give more money. For every $1 you give, I will put on another piece of clothing.
I can be bought.
Oh yeah. I'm a slippery hoe. I don't need mine saying it.
So that is that. But thank you all so much. Thank you both for joining me. Thank you all so much. Again, patreon.com/babykangaroomedia for all of this and more. And we will talk to you all next time.